pledge the American flag, and then followed by a moment of silent reflection.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, that does move us into the roll call of the board members. I'll turn to our treasurer, Mrs. Roberts, for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mrs. Johns. Here. Mr. Kimmer.
Here.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Here.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Roberts. All board members are present. Does move us on into the minutes. All board members have the minutes of the August 18th meeting. Any adjustments to those? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as attached.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smeltzer. Any thought or comments? If not, question. I'll turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns. Yes. Mr. Kimmer.
Yes. Motion passed, unanimous. 1.6, adjustments to the agenda. Turn to Mr. Belleville. Would there be any adjustments, sir?
No adjustments at this time.
Okay. All right. Moves then to information discussion, which will go to 2.1, which is the superintendent updates. Mr. Belleville, sir.
All right, thank you. Glad everybody can make it this evening. We are in full school mode now. The month of September is busy, to say the least. We just had our Land Lab Day, and I'll talk about that here briefly, but we have several large events coming up, just kind of putting it on your radar a little bit. September 27th, we'll be hosting a band festival. We haven't done this in our past. Our alumni association will be helping to put that on. I believe we have 8 schools committed to being here that day. I think it starts at 5 o'clock, and so that'll be all day long. The weekend before that, we have our alumni band event. Be on Friday night, September 19th. And Oktoberfest down in Bremen, Saturday the 27th. Our soccer teams are hosting a joint golf scramble on the 27th, so that's going to be a busy day without a shadow of a doubt. But we're in it. So the month of September is jam-packed, plus all of our normal events going on, athletic events. We'll have concerts starting soon. All sorts of things. So it's been a great start to the year, but now that we're in it, we're really ramping up and getting going, and that's exciting to see across the district. As far as the agenda, have a few things just want to point out. We have a lot of workshops on the agenda tonight for approval. All of these are pretty typical standard workshops or conferences that we send people to each year. If there are any specific questions when we get to that place in the consent agenda, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. But all of those are pretty standard that we've gone to in the past. On the agenda, do have Cassie Wolf presenting her for consideration tonight to fill the open aide position at Bremen Elementary School. We had an incredible response to that posting, 18 applications, so it took us a little bit of time to get through all those. We interviewed, I think it was six people out of the 18, and Cassie is a parent in the district, has kids at Bremen Elementary School, and we think she'll be a great fit there. So we're excited to bring her on board, and she has a strong background working with the community in general, so we think that'd be a great fit as well. So then also on the agenda, recommendation to rehire Christy Smith, rehire. I could not recommend that strongly enough. So appreciative and thankful for all that Christy does, and that this is year 45, her years of service. She obviously is just a wealth of knowledge and information, and just a great support for me personally. So excited to see her willing to continue on in the future. We have some supplemental contracts on the agenda tonight. We do have one resignation of a coach, so really want to thank Jason Thompson, Grace Dye, John Helber for stepping up and helping out to fill in spots that we needed filled in. So just wanted to publicly thank them for stepping up whenever there was a need there. And obviously Coach Oliver and all he does for the golf team. He'll be working with both teams here to finish out the season. So we're very appreciative of that group of individuals. We have a volunteer, Ms. Hazeltine will be helping the volleyball program. Again, we're always very appreciative of our volunteers. So I have those for your consideration. And then there is a policy revision on the board agenda, and I would ask the board to consider waiving a first reading to approve the policy as presented tonight. And kind of the history behind this, we have a policy that the district pays for membership for administrators to a professional organization. And the greatest example that I can give you for that is, for us to have National Honor Society, someone has to be a member of the National Principals Organization, because that's how like Honor Society gets rolled out. So we have historically paid for administrators one membership into a professional organization. And like I said, most of the time there's something tied to that as to why we need to do that. So in our board policy, we had 4 specific organizations, maybe 5 specific organizations listed that would be paid for. And when that policy was first written, those were the organizations that were out there. At that time, our special ed coordinator was hired through the ESC. That was prior to me coming into the district. And then once I came in, we made the decision to hire Tiffany Wade away from the ESC and just have our own special education coordinator and not hire him through the ESC. Well, there is a professional organization for special education coordinators, where they can get legal updates and have professional development and resources available to them on current topics in special education. And Mr. Turnbull, who is now our special education coordinator, had approached Ms. Roberts and I and asked if he could join this organization. And I said, yeah, we will pay for an administrator to join one. Then once we looked at the policy, the way it was written, the policy would only allow us to pay for the 4 that were listed in the policy. So just changing that wording that we will pay for a professional organization for one administrator. Here's an example of organizations, but not all inclusive. So just changing that wording, that in the future, if there are new professional organizations that get developed or one of them changes the name, if you go through our board policy manual right now, we just updated that 2 years ago. But if you go through the board policy manual, almost every policy needs re-updated because they all reference the Ohio Department of Education. Well, that got changed. It's now the Department of Education and Workforce. So there are always little things like this that pop up, and it's really just a wording issue. So tried to change that policy to be more flexible to cover anything in the future that would get changed. So that's why that's on there. Again, can answer any other questions. Because we're into the school year and Mr. Turnbull would like to get into that organization, I would request that we waive a first reading and just approve the policy as presented, or at least that's consideration. If you want to have a first reading and table it and approve it again and approve it in a couple weeks, it's perfectly fine. We can do that. But We've had a couple of issues here lately that Mr. Turnbull's been working on with our legal counsel that we think that organization would have been beneficial. So I think the quicker we can get him in there, the better off would be. Any questions on agenda items that I can answer? All right. Land Lab Community Day was, every year it's incredible, but we had an amazing turnout Saturday. I think by far the highest turnout for school-aged children since we've had it. This was our 11th Land Lab Day, 10 that we've actually been able to have it, lost 1 year to COVID. It was a huge success. There's so many thank yous out there, individuals, people that volunteer and do things, and we tried to list a lot of those people at the event Saturday, but also want to give a special thank you to Ms. Toller and our National Honor Society students who volunteered. They were there early and stayed late to set up and tear down and provide guide. They acted as guides on tours and gave information at various places. I also want to thank Mr. Baker, Ms. Penrose, and our ag students who every year they're out there making fresh cider, but this year they also added a homemade caramel apple stand where people could make their own caramel apples, and just incredible having our staff and students being such a big part of presenting this to the community. I think that really brings it full circle, and people notice. So many people come to me that, it's a great event and they can't believe it's completely free with everything happening, but then they notice that the number of students that are there volunteering and working really is impactful. And then the last thank you is just to everyone associated with our Land Lab committee for all of their hard work, not just on Community Day, but throughout the year to keep the Land Lab up to date and looking good. And it just kind of, as I say, that reminds me another event this Saturday is our home cross country meet. And due to the efforts of Land Lab committee members, Dale, Mr. Kimmer, Leroy Smith, that facility out there is looking amazing right now. It'll be a great setup for the cross country meet on Saturday. So excited about that. We're always excited to show off our facilities and how well they look. So, Mr. Kimmer, anything you want to share?
Just maybe I want to recognize our honorees, Mrs. Tricia Rogers and Mr. Douglas Furbrush. They were honorees this year, and it was a privilege to be there to see them honored and as they spoke, and it was heartfelt, and I appreciate that so much. And what a day to remember is how I look at it, to see families enjoying the day, and you just had to smile from ear to ear to see it. And with all the exhibitors, of presenters, Rushville Lions, for what they do and donate everything, you just could write down the list to FFA, to the Flint Napping, the Bees with Ed Smith, and our administrators that could make it there. You look around and you see everyone supporting one another. And I know Mrs. Tokar texted me and said she wanted to be there and couldn't, but she had to be with her mom, and that's where she should have been. But that was heartfelt as well to see a lot of the staff supporting each other, and it makes Fairfield Union so special. And so Mike Myers puts on such a wonderful tour, and I always have to chuckle. He says, I'll say, because he has points of interest where he stops and talks about it a little bit, he says, I'll go ahead and explain what I know about it, and what I don't know, I'll make up.
And he does.
And he does, and he reels you right into where you believe it.
Yeah.
So anyhow, it was truly just a day to remember. And like you said, Mr. Belleville, to see the people that was there, just seems to increase. We actually had a keepsake item this year of the homestead back there, And I was almost a little disappointed there wasn't more pieces taken, but they thought they had to buy them. It's like, oh no, they're free. But anyhow, so, they said, oh gosh, if they're free, we didn't know that. But it was just a memorable day and a day to see a family. And that's what we do, to give back to the community. So, well, thank you for allowing me a few words there. Appreciate that.
Last thing I have, Bremen traffic study. We had Kleinger's come in last year and do a very comprehensive study of the traffic flow around Bremen Elementary School and try to come up with some solutions to lessen traffic around the building during drop-off and pickup times. Kleinger's had shared with me, this is what they do. This is, they're part of their business. And they had shared it was without a doubt the most difficult traffic study that they'd ever done, that there really were no great solutions without some major construction happening, or, really doing drastic changes. We did start the year with drop off in the morning. We worked, Mr. Knott and Mr. Montgomery and I worked to get the doors open a little bit earlier. We adjusted some times of our staff. So we're opening doors a little bit earlier. We're monitoring kids in the gym. So that seems to have helped tremendously in the mornings to get traffic off of Engle Street. We know that, when cars are stopped on Engle Street, it does create issues, especially if there was some sort of emergency vehicles not being able to get through. So, we fully recognize and understand the problem. Afternoon pickup has been a little bit more challenging, just because the area we use for drop-off and pickup is also the playground. So we keep the gates closed during the school day so that classes have that area to utilize as playground area. And so we wait and open up the gates at 3 o'clock to allow cars to start coming onto the lot to line up for afternoon pickup. And we'll get cars starting to line up prior to 3 o'clock. So what we were seeing is cars coming to closed gate, parking, and then next thing you know, at 2:45, there are cars backed up on Engle Street parked, waiting to get onto the school lot, which again creates a safety issue. And Mayor Taylor, Village Council down in Bremen have been tremendous to work with. We're all brainstorming ideas, looking at what Kleinger's had presented as well. So we did send a message out to families on Friday that the gates open at 3 and you can't park and wait for the gates to open. If you get there and the gates close, circle the block, keep moving. You just can't park on Engle Street. And so the Sheriff's Department was out today to help with that. Again, we sent a message home Friday. Sheriff's deputy there today to make sure people keep moving, and when the gates open at 3, we'll get them onto the lots. I think once we get the gates open at 3 o'clock and we can get people onto the lots, the amount of traffic on Engle Street has reduced, the amount of time that there's traffic. So we're continuing to monitor that and work on it. It's a difficult situation. So just not a lot of space in the area, and the solutions are minimal without doing some major construction. So just wanted to put that on your radar in case you hear from anyone in the community as to why the sheriff may have been out today telling people they can't stay parked in the middle lane. We'll just circle the block and come back. And so we're working on it. But outside of that, that's all I have for this evening, but I'm glad to answer any questions.
Okay, Mr. Belville, I sure appreciate the updates. Thank you. All right, it does move us into recognition of visitors. Has anybody signed in?
Nope.
Okay, no one has signed in, so that'll move us into administrative reports. And always look forward to this. It's the inside of our administrator. So we'll first turn to Mr. Schaefer, our high school principal. Mr. Schaefer, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I was working on this. I think Mr. Belleville was looking over my homework because we have a lot of the same information when it comes to important dates. So some of this will be carryover, but
Not bad.
It's okay. I just want to start the year talking just about how good of a start we've had at the high school. I was just telling Mr. DeStadio, we don't have a lot of discipline, but today felt like an odd day. We had literally nothing. Not a single negative thing came through the office today. So sometimes you get kids a little late to class or little things like that, and today we had nothing. So it kind of goes in line with what I've got here. We have seen an uptick in our positive referrals this year, so we allow teachers not just to notify the office when a student does something wrong, but they can notify when a student does something well. So when we looked at last year to this year, we've already seen an uptick of about 20 positive referrals of a difference between last year at this time and this year at this time. And then also Mr. Johns and myself, kind of in conjunction with the new cell phone ban at the state level, we wanted to try to put in a program at the high school that kind of focused more on encouraging students to engage in their classmates, their teachers, what they're being taught, rather than just focusing on this negative thing that they perceive of no longer having their phone. So we created what we call our Plugged In campaign. It's kind of like a positive referral, but it's just specifically about students who are engaged in the class, or maybe there's couple minutes left before the bell rings and they're talking to each other, they're talking to the teachers. So kind of a separate positive referral. And so far this year we're up to 18 students who've been recognized for that. We do every week we draw 4 of them, recognize them before the whole student body in the morning on the announcements, and then one of those 4 gets recognized with kind of a bigger prize for being the Plugged In Student of the Week. So we're really pleased with the way that's going. A lot of people have been asking, how bad has the and it really hasn't been bad. We've got a couple here or there. The community's been really supportive. Even the kids who get caught are supportive. They're like, they turn them in and it's like, I actually kind of like not having. So even in the bad moments there where we're getting phones turned in, they're even acknowledging that they feel that it's been a better environment in school without kind of that constant distraction of having the phone. So we're really pleased with the way that that's going. This sounds weird to say right now, but testing has already started this year. So we are in the process of finishing up our web exam pre-testing. I want to give a shout out to Mr. DeStadio and Mr. Johns. They're kind of the ones that run that with our CTE teachers. So these are tests that the students will take again at the end of the semester or the year-long, whatever course it is. But it allows them to see the test. It allows our teachers to kind of get a good baseline of how the students do on each standard, so that they've kind of got an idea how to navigate their instruction as the year goes. So we're going to pick this up again tomorrow. We're about done with our pre-test for web exams, so as crazy as it is, testing is here, and we're hoping and excited to see what those numbers look like this year. As Mr. Belleville said, there's a lot going on at the high school, so I figured instead of taking the next hour to recognize groups, I'm just going to kind of pick a couple to highlight here. First group is our men's and women's cross-country team, so there are 2 meets in, and so far 2 really great races out of both of those teams. So at Circleville, our men's got first and our women were second, and then this past weekend at Watkins, they both teams raced up a division, so played schools that were bigger than us. And again, our men finished first at Watkins, and our women's team finished second. So out of the start of the year, both of those teams really doing a solid job. Also want to recognize our boys golf team. So the other day on the 4th, they received their first Mid-State League match victory for the year. They've been second a couple of times, been close. But they actually got first the other night in Mid-State League number 3. And then also want to recognize Ian McDaniels. If you see him out and about, the other night he was golfing with Bryce Lepi and hit a hole-in-one on number 9 there at Pumpkin Vine. So he's our hole-in-one guy right now. So I told him I've golfed a lot longer than him and can't say I've done that. But I did make sure Bryce told me that he didn't pay him anything. It was a legitimate hole-in-one. So very good there. I also want the last group to recognize here is our forestry team. They leave at the end of this week for the Big E competition up in Massachusetts, where they're going to compete against schools from the East Coast to try to see how they can place there kind of at a national level. So they're pretty excited about that. Just to reiterate, Community Land Lab Day was this weekend. Great showing. I don't know what it says that I got there a little bit early so I could get to the cross country. When I was there, it rained, and then the second I left, I don't think there was any rain for the rest of the day. So I guess that says a lot there. But it was good. It was good to see all the students and just the community coming out. Some of our students who showed up were also involved either with band or cheerleading or football, so they were getting home at 2 o'clock in the morning from Fairland, turning right back around to come out and help out with the Land Lab Day. So that was it was a very good event for everybody involved. We did a class contest. We had them sign in when they got there. We do a battle of the classes over the course of the year. So we're excited to announce that the junior class had the best attendance at Land Lab Day. So they've got 50 points towards their total for the battle of the classes this year. And then lastly, just a couple of upcoming events that we'd like to put on everybody's radar. Our first home football game is the 19th. Along with that, we have alumni band night that night. That's going to be quite a show. This will be the first time that I've not been coaching, so I'm excited to get to see that at halftime. And also that we're going to recognize the two individuals being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, which is Matt McPhail and Brandon Lightnecker. So that's a very busy night, but one that I think is going to highlight a lot of the great things about Fairfield Union. I also want to highlight, as Mr. Belleville said, Community Band Festival on the 27th. That is the first. There's a lot of buzz about the high school. The kids are excited. It sounds like the directors are excited. So we're really excited to see what that looks like. And then, again, this Saturday, the home cross country meet. Again, I think he stole my notes there. But just excited to see everybody out on campus. It's been a great start to the year. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Appreciate the insight with our high school. Very informative. All right, well, it turns us then to Mr. Knott, our Director of Elementary Education. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize, Mrs. Hahn. Mrs. Hahn, a Rushville Middle School principal. Yes. I apologize, Mrs. Hahn.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I have 4 topics that I want to discuss with you this evening. First and foremost, we have had a great start at the middle school as well, so just kind of echoing some of the things that Mr. Schaefer said. As of today, around 3:30 p.m., the middle school has, the staff has given out over 1,000 positive referrals so far this school year. Just so proud of our staff. They are really doing a great job of recognizing our kids, finding them doing all of the positive, things that they do on a daily basis. And so just wanted to thank our staff for that. As well, with our new Aubrey system that we have, we're really able to kind of dig in and dial down to some data. And so I was just kind of looking at it today, and from our Aubrey data, I now know that our 5th graders have the best attendance so far at the middle school, followed by our 6th graders, then 7th graders, and then rounding that out would be our 8th graders. I was also able to see that Friday is the day. I know that we've only been in school for a few weeks, but Friday of the 5 days of the week, Friday is the day that is the most missed at the middle school so far, and that boys are missing school on Fridays more so than girls. And so you can really dig in and dial down into some of that data. It's really interesting to see. So just looking forward to being able to see that information and how we can use that throughout the school year. Mr. Funk is visiting each grade level this week to talk about devices, cell phone usage, and just digital usage in general. All the lessons that he is using are from our Common Sense curriculum, and just talking about like an emphasis on like that digital and non-digital balance. And so I went into actually Mr. Bischoff's classroom today and I watched the lesson that was presented, and it was interesting because he presented the lesson was wanting our 5th graders to think about what they do after school each day. And then was kind of then asking them, is this something that is digital or non-digital? And it was interesting to hear the kids have to think about how often they use digital resources. And so after the lesson, they had to kind of reevaluate what they would do in the after school hours. And so some of them, said, well, gosh, I think I'm going to need to maybe go outside and play more, or maybe I need to spend more family time. And so it was just a kind of a realization, I think, for some of them to take a step back and kind of look at the amount of, cell phone usage that they use, or maybe even just TV time in general. So, another kind of topic that they discussed was just making good decisions too. Not only with cell phones, but just in some of the streaming devices that you can get from your television, making sure that they're making good choices when they are even watching television. So it was a really great, effective lesson, I think, for the kids to see that kind of an eye-opening experience for them. I just wanted to speak about a couple of professional development opportunities that our teachers have had. Edie Schilling provided our WEP training for our teachers last week. She came into our school after hours, after the school day, and just provided some updates for our teachers when they're writing those WEPs. And the state has had some new guidance just on wanting parent participation in those WEPs. And so she kind of rolled out to our teachers what that's going to look like, just to ensure that we do have that parent participation with our WEPs moving forward. And then last Friday, middle school and high school administrators met with Keith McCarroll. He's going to be with us on September 22nd for our professional development day. And a big focus for the secondary level teachers will be on vocabulary. So, you know, obviously when you're in elementary school, you learn to read, but when you're in secondary, you know, you are reading to learn. And so there's a lot of content-specific vocabulary that is in all of the content areas, you know, grades 5 through 12. And so he's going to teach our teachers how to kind of, you know, break apart vocabulary, understand the morphology of it, and make sure that they're expressing that to our students effectively. And then that will in turn also boost our reading comprehension, which is another goal that we are obviously wanting for our students as well. Just kind of rounding off my report this evening with some highlighting some athletics. Our 7th grade volleyball right now is 4-2. 7th grade football, they're struggling a little bit, 0-2, but then our 8th graders are good because they're undefeated at 2-0. So, you know, just they're doing really, really well. 7th grade's actually playing this evening. Cross country, we have smaller teams this year, both boys and girls level. But Mr. Graham is really, really good about reporting about different meets and so forth, and they're every week showing improvement and having personal bests. So that's really important. Our boys soccer is 4-1-1. Girls soccer is 4-2-0. And then with our co-ed golf, we have 2 first place finishes, 1 second place finish, and then a 6th and a 14th place finish at some larger invites. So I just want to thank our coaches and our volunteers. So much time and energy is put forth into our middle school student athletes, and I just want to thank them for all that they do for our kids. Thank you.
Okay,
Any
thank you.
questions? No? Okay.
Thanks, Mrs. Holland. Very informative, appreciate it very much. All right, now we turn to Mr. Nod, our Director of Elementary Education. Mr. Nod, sir.
Hey guys. All right, on the academic side in our elementary buildings, first of all, we're locked in. It's so fun to visit the different buildings. Kids are working hard, teachers are being creative. Assessments, beginning year assessments are pretty much finished. We've had a couple kiddos that have been out with something that we're catching up this week, but for the most part, those are finished. Bless Mrs. Barr, our instructional coach's heart. She has agreed to do some of the behind the scenes paperwork so the teachers really can zero in on the intervention planning and working with the kids and actually getting a lot of it up and running a little sooner than what we typically do. So kudos to her because it's a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of questions and then a lot of reporting to me. But she's doing a great job with that, so kudos to her. Our grade level teams in both buildings have been meeting or will meet this week for about 50 minutes first thing in the morning. Again, big idea, big project we're working on this year is writing. Just kind of touching base with the 2 buildings. Where are we? What are you working on? What have you been using in our curriculum that you see as beneficial? How are you using that? Have you brought anything in to maybe make it a little fancier or a little bit more exciting for the kiddos? And so those conversations have been good to listen to. They often think they're very different, but when they get together, you find that it's very similar to the things that they're using and doing. So that's always reassuring to me too, but also for them, I think, to make sure, okay, yeah, that I am in the ballpark that I need to be in. Working on those things. Mrs. Hahn mentioned Keith McCarroll. He met with elementary administrators too. He is going to be coming at the end of September. He'll spend 1 full day at Bremen, another full day at Pleasantville. He is actually going into the classrooms and he's modeling some of the strategies that he shared with them in August. So they'll actually see that in action. And if you ever talk to teachers, this is the one piece that they feel like they never really get too much of. They don't really get to see it in action with their kiddos real kids, not the best 5 kids in the class, right? And so he's like, oh yeah, absolutely not a problem. And so Mrs. Barr and myself are kind of giving him kind of the topic. So it's whatever they're working on in the ELA, whatever that broad topic is, he's going to bring in a read aloud or a poem or something connected to it and use those strategies so they can see that. Then he's going to come back in January and we're going to kind of flip it. Teachers are going to practice those strategies with him in there, kind of giving some feedback and kind of coaching through and see how we're doing that. In the meantime, behind the scenes, Mrs. Barr, about once a month, will be in each of our buildings providing optional mini PD on some of those additional strategies that he's shown them and that we're learning and using. So hopefully by the end of the year, we can pick 4 to 6 of those strategies that we see the biggest bang for our buck, and to know those ones will be the ones we hold on to and start to implement K4 at the elementary the following school year. So we're excited. It is slow and steady, but it's definitely moving forward, and you can tell already as early as it is that the teachers are much more comfortable with the curriculum this year, that they've spent some time over the summer kind of tweaking the things that kind of made them go a little bit crazy last year, and so it's a payoff for the kids. The kids are enjoying it and the engagement's high. It's always fun. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Knott, thank you for the overview of elementary education. Appreciate the insight. So, does move us now on to Mr. Montgomery, our Bremen Elementary School Principal. Mr. Montgomery, sir.
How you doing?
Wonderful.
So first I'll start off by saying that it's been super exciting to get to start off the year. Obviously it's my first year as principal, and it's just been great to see all the kids. And like, what's so great about these kids, they all come in excited and smiling just every day. And so it's just really great to be around that positive energy. And so on that note, I just want to kind of talk about some of the positive behavior interventions that we've been doing at the school. So kind of give you some updates from last time. So we're still doing the Falcon slips. So the kids are super excited they get a slip for doing something good or get caught, like exhibiting a great behavior. The teacher gives them one of those. They bring it down. They're all excited to bring it to the office, and then it gets announced in the morning. So they're super excited about that. We've also got golden eggs. These are based off character traits that are also through the farm theme that we're doing. So we went with golden eggs. We did golden balloons last year because we were doing undersea theme. And so these are based off of character traits that Ms. Minosky, our guidance counselor, chose. So September was a love of learning. And so all those kids, teachers picked one kid from each one, and then next month we're going to pick 2 for our next one. And they came down to the office, down to the library, and Angel Webb dressed as a chicken. We got them all little gold coins, and they put it into the book vending machine, and everybody got a book. So we had about 14 students that won that, so they were all super excited. And then, so next week, we're focusing on self-control and safe body as our focus for that. The new thing that I've kind of implemented in is, so when I was a teacher, I always had a class pet. It was an oxalotl, which is like a little salamander thing. And so most adults think it looks kind of weird, but the kids are in love with it. And so I decided to expand that. It's now our school pet. And so the kids constantly want to see it, so I decided to make that a reward system. So if I catch them, being good in recess, lunch, in the hallways, I give them a little slip, write down their name. Once a week, they come down to my office, they get to visit it, see it get fed, win a little reward, and that's all they ever talk about now. So, I've heard from lots of parents, they don't want to know about me, they want to know about this oxalotl, so they're super excited about it. As for, there's kind of tier 1 things, tier 2, we've kind of begun that. Focusing on smaller groups that we could really identify that need some emotional, behavioral support. And so I formed a new team with that, and we had our first meeting the other day, just kind of looking at what students, kind of have similar behaviors or needs, and how can we help them get some different ideas on board. And working with Ms. Minosky as well, we kind of come up with some engaging ways to really get kids on board with that. We also had our PTO mom sale. So any kid that sold enough by the cutoff date, they got to do a popsicle party, and they had some extra recess. The kids had a lot of fun with that. Also, just an update on the Kranos reading program. So they were super generous, gave us about 500 free personal pizzas to give out throughout the year. So I've tied that to our online Lexia reading program. And so the top 5 level earners each grading period are going to get one of those. And I also gave the intervention specialists and our reading teachers and our tutors the discretion to give out those as well for students that are really trying during reading groups. And then finally, for upcoming field trips, kindergarten's planning a field trip to the pumpkin patch and to the land lab, and I know they're super excited about that. So that's all I have for you guys.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks.
okay. Mr. Montgomery, sure appreciate the insight with Bremen Elementary. Thank you. All right, that leaves us then with Mrs. Tokarth, our Pleasantville Elementary Principal. Mrs. Tokarth.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share a snapshot of Pleasantville. Tonight I would like to talk about the feeling that you get when you walk in our front doors. Since the first day of school, so many people comment right away when they enter the building. It feels so happy here. It's so cheerful. It feels like sunshine. The yellow sun rays, the warm energy, and the calm, welcoming atmosphere set the tone the moment that you step inside or drive by. Just last week, 2 community members who do not have children or grandchildren in our school called to share how much they loved the message on our electronic sign. Scrolling, it says, "There's a great big beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day." They commented on how it was a beautiful reminder for everyone, but especially for the children. Moments like this reflect the positive culture that we are building at Pleasantville, and that atmosphere on the inside isn't just for decoration. It is intentional. It creates a sense of safety, joy, and belonging, and that feeling is directly tied to the growth, success, and engagement that we see every day from both our staff and our students. A story that resonated deeply with me this year comes from our instructional coach, Mrs. Barr, and I'd like to share that story with you this evening. Mrs. Barr shared with me that her grandma Jean, a retired first grade teacher with a heart for serving others, was a retired teacher from Groveport, Madison for 30 years. Grandma Jean was grandma to many. In fact, she was my Sunday school teacher when I was in the 2s and 3s. Grandma Jean had a sticker from the 1993 Billy Graham Crusade. Some of you might have been there. It was at the old Clipper Stadium, pinned to her car visor for 20 years. Here's what the sticker read: "I am flexible, I am friendly, and I am here to serve." For Grandma Jean, it was not just a sticker, it was a compass, a daily reminder that small acts of kindness, service, and connection can make a big impact. And that philosophy perfectly mirrors a quote that I recently shared with my staff from Dr. Brad Johnson. He says that relationships before rigor means that students work harder for teachers they trust, they feel connected to, and know care about them. And the same is true for adults. Grandma Jean lived this every day, and at Pleasantville, we strive to do the same. When our teachers feel supported, they are willing to try new strategies. When students feel connected, they are willing to take academic risks. And when our team trusts each other, collaboration flows naturally, and our students benefit. To celebrate and reinforce that culture, we have started a SOAR jar for our staff members. When a colleague shows flexibility or friendliness or a servant's heart, others can shout them out by adding their name to the jar. I draw names for fun prizes like duty-free passes because small recognitions reinforce the big culture of care that we are building at Pleasantville. And the results speak for themselves. Teachers are engaging in real-time coaching as partners, not just under pressure. Students are showing greater perseverance, curiosity, and self-regulation, which I just saw today. Our flexible, friendly, service-driven climate is fueling academic growth. Beyond academics, we've celebrated joyful community moments like our Falcon's Nest ice cream social last Friday, which was a great success. We loved having Mr. Craig and Mr. Kemmer join us, and one student who was propped up against a tree enjoying her ice cream looked up at me and she said, "Mrs. Tokarz, this is the life." Our mantra, "I'm flexible, I'm friendly, and I'm here to serve," guides us every day. It is creating a culture where students thrive, teachers grow, and we are all connected to something bigger than ourselves. That's Pleasantville, a place where people feel good, and because of that, students do better. A place where great teaching meets joyful service, and a place where every day we are building a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. What questions do you have for me?
I don't think of any. Thank you, Mrs. Tokarz.
You're welcome.
Your
Thank you.
Pleasantville Elementary insight was wonderful. Appreciate it very much. To all administrators, and I'll let other board members speak as well, you know, feel free. It's uplifting to hear your comments, to feel that our Fairview Union students are heading in the right direction, and very uplifting to hear the reports from all of you. So, yeah. So thank you. Thank you for your insight and the comments you've had this evening. So, with that, we will move on with our agenda. I will mention to the administrators, it will not be disrespectful if you need to leave. I know you all get very early and work very hard throughout the day, so if you need to leave, please, it will not be disrespectful. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate you being here. See you tomorrow.
Okay, we'll move us into the consent agenda section, section 5, and we'll move into workshops and conferences. All board members see that, there's 1 through 12, some of the workshops and conferences that our staff is going to, so. No comments as you're looking through those. Give you a minute. Any thoughts on any of those workshops and conferences? If not, we'll move on to our next item. Okay. Let's move on then to financial items. I'll turn to Mrs. Roberts for financial items, please.
Okay, 2 items for this evening, both for the month of August. So far, through the month of August, we have received $8.8 million in revenue compared to 8.8 last year, so we are flat in revenue. However, when you get into the details, there are some changes. The first change you'll see is actually in our property and pub taxes. It does at a high level look like we are down 9% this year to last. However, if you remember, in previous years, we have some pipelines that go through the district, and they were actually going through some legal battles as far as their value. And we had a one-time true-up payment at the beginning of last year that was about $225,000. So that is why we are looking down 9%. That was just a one-time payment, which we knew. So we knew when you look apples to apples, we knew we were going to look down. However, that being said, that would make us down 9% to last year. However, if you take that one-time payment out, we are still down 4%. In talking with the county and even talking just with our county auditor, we're actually surprised to see that this is down. We're anticipating that we would probably be up around 10% for the year. So really looking at that, we do still have a few smaller payments to come in that kind of trickle in towards the back end of probably this month. So hopefully that'll start to make up some of that difference. But we were not anticipating that down, 4% when you take out that payment. So we'll continue to watch that, but just it's a little off of what we had originally thought. Income tax is up 6%. This is right in line with the state. This is really where we thought we would be. We thought we would be about up 5%, so we're pretty much in line with where we thought we would be. State grants are up 7%, and then other revenue is also up. This is really due to interest at this point. I did pull our interest projections down for the year, just watching markets. So far, 2 months in, this is slightly beating forecast. But we'll still watch that. That may start to level out a little bit, but for the total year, we do anticipate interest to come down slightly. Expenditures, we are down 10% to last year at $4.3 million versus almost $4.8 million. The biggest difference is in salaries. This is one of those things where we have timing again, where we've talked about last year, August was a 3-pay month. This year, August was a 2-pay month. Go forward, that will actually be corrected because last time we went through our negotiations with our union, we have negotiated to go from 26 pays a year to 24. So we will no longer have those 3-pay months. So go forward, we will be apples to apples. But for right now, the month of August, there was one more pay under our belt last year, so that's why pay looks down, even though we had increases in pay this year. The other thing was new pay rates last year started on 8/30, so they started that third pay in August versus they didn't start until 9/5 this year. So 3 pays versus 2 pays, and then also it's 1 pay later that those new pays started. So benefits is in line with that, down 19%. Purchase services are also down 19%. Supplies is up 50, but that's due, we've been talking, that was due to that early purchase of laptops in order to get a lower cost. And then our transfers out, this was the transfer to our 034 maintenance fund, apples to apples for the year. So far, our ending cash balance through the month of August is at 12.1 million compared to 21.6 last year. This is due to the large transfer that we made before June 30th of the year. We made that large transfer into our 070 fund to help support, future master plan.
Right.
So overall, feeling like we're in a good spot. As a reminder, I will be presenting the 5-year forecast next board meeting. This due to the change of when that is due. And then actually next year, it's due at the end of August. So it's going to be an interesting timing just with the timing of tax payments and everything. We actually won't have a lot of information for next year. So as a reminder, I'll be presenting that next board meeting.
Okay.
Any questions on the financial piece? Okay, I will move into insurance. So far, we have received $923,000 in our health insurance compared to $832 last August. This is up 11%. As a reminder, premiums for Plan A increased by 10% and Plan B by 3%. In combination, that's actually a 4% increase overall, just due to the amount of employees in Plan A versus Plan B. So total, it's about a 4% increase. We are not having a good year in claims so far. We are up 32% in claims. We have had over $1 million in claims so far versus under $900,000 last August. We have already had a handful of people who have hit our $100,000 stop loss mark. So 2 months in and have already had more than $100,000. So obviously, from a relationship employee side, that's really, really tough to see. And then also just from the number side. What that does mean is that go forward, any claims that those individuals will have, we will not pay. It does get picked up by our stop loss. So we pay it up front, but then we get reimbursed through the back end. So that will come down, but that will, we will watch that. But really, the good news is we're still sitting at almost $4 million with our cash balance. But as a reminder, we are planning to offset some of the increase that we needed through our cash balance this year. So watching that, obviously 32% is a lot. It is a lot. We've seen the roller coaster of insurance. This is definitely, we are really sitting in some high claims right now. So, dental insurance, not a lot of news in dental insurance, just kind of moving along. We're sitting at $247,000 versus $225,000 last August. We did see an increase in claims, but still overall, we're in a really good spot in dental insurance, so kind of moving along. Any questions on insurance? Okay, that is all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Roberts. Appreciate the insight with the financial items. So, does move us into 5.3, approval of the consent agenda. There's a motion to approve the consent agenda items as recommended by the superintendent and treasurer. Been moved by Mr. Hoffman. Would there be a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Johns. Any discussion? None. Turn to question. Ask Mrs. Roberts for the roll call. The board members, please.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zingmeister? Yes. Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous. Does move us then into new business section. 6.1, support service contract. The motion to approve the one-year support service contract for 2025-2026 school year for Cassie Wolf of Bremen Elementary Aid, salary schedule 1, step 1, a date to be determined depending on verification of all application materials. Everyone has her application and the attachment in front of you.
So real quick, just one comment on that date. just to make sure, typically we have a start date in here because helps determine how we write the employment contract. And speaking with Christy Smith, one of the things is we are still waiting on her permit. So I know the team wanted to go ahead and bring that to the board today, but I just wanted to make that known that that date will be determined as soon as the team receives her permit, whatever date that is and whatever day she can start. That's what date we will put on the contract. So I just wanted to kind of say that in public because typically that date is written in here. But that is something that, you know, that's kind of how we stated that this time of just to be determined. So it'll be just a little bit different of a process, but.
Okay, thank you for that comment, Mrs. Roberts. No one has any other question? I'd entertain a motion to approve the one-year service contract for Cassie Wolf.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Johns. I'll second that. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zahnmeister. Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Motion passed, unanimous. This on 6.2, support service contract. There's a motion to approve the reemployment of Christina Smith as administrator assistant to the superintendent beginning October 2nd, 2025, at 75% of step 46 on the salary schedule F1.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Smeltzer. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Discussion. No discussion. Turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call. The board members, please.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zahnmeister. Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes. Motion passed, unanimous. Does move us then on to 6.3, resignation of from a supplemental contract. A motion to approve the resignation of Ty McCaffrey as head golf girls coach effective August 27, 2025. Been moved by Mr. Hoffman. I'll second that. Discussion? No discussion. I'll turn to question and roll call the board members.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zahnmeister.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Motion passed, unanimous. 6.4, a motion to approve the resignation of Jason Thompson as a reserve golf boys coach effective immediately, contingent on being approved as a head golf girls coach.
The head girls is in the next agenda item.
Okay.
Needed a resignation before we could vote on him
Okay,
to be approved.
all right. Thank you for that comment, Mr. Belleville. Entertain a motion, and if there so be.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zahnmeister. Would there be a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Johns. Discussion. No discussion. I'll turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zahnmeister.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Motion passed, unanimous. 6.5, personal service supplemental contracts. There's a motion on the floor to approve a personal service supplemental contracts as presented. You see the four supplemental contracts there in front of you. I'd entertain a motion if no question. I'd entertain a motion to approve the personal service supplemental contract as presented.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Johns. I'll second that. Discussion. No discussion. Turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zahnmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Motion passed, unanimous. 6.6, volunteer. There's a motion to approve Krista Azeltine as a volunteer for the reserve volleyball. And Mr. Belleville commented previous about it as well.
Move to approve.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Hoffman. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smeltzer. Discussion. No discussion. I turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes, motion passed, unanimous. 6.7, substitute teacher list. A motion to approve the substitute teacher list as presented. All board members have that attachment as a substitute teacher list to look over. There's no comment. Entertain a motion to approve the substitute teacher list as presented.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Smeltzer. I'll second that. Discussion. No discussion. I'll turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous. 6.8, substitute classified list. There is a motion to approve the substitute classified list as presented. All board members have that attachment as well to look over. If there be any comments. There not being any comments, I'd entertain a motion to approve the substitute classified list as presented.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hoffman. Discussion. No discussion. I turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous. 6.9, an educational trip, National FFA Convention. There's a motion to approve Hannah Penrose to take the FFA members to the National FFA Convention October 29th through November 1st, 2025 in Indianapolis, Indiana. All board members do have that attachment in front of you.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Smeltzer. I'll second that. Discussion. No discussion. I'll turn to question and turn to Mrs. Roberts, please.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous. 6.10, motion to approve Hannah Penrose to take the FFA members to the state FFA convention April 30th through May 1st, 2026 at the High State Fairgrounds. All board members have that attachment in front of you as well. Be no comments, or I'd entertain a motion to approve Hannah Penrose to take the FFA members to the state FFA convention.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Johns. Would there be a second? Second by Mr. Hoffman. Discussion. No discussion. I'll turn to question. Ask Mrs. Roberts for the roll call. The board members, please.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous. 6.11, policy revision is a motion to waive the first reading and approve revisions to policy GCBC-2-R, certified staff fringe benefits administrators as presented. Yeah, board members have that attachment in front of you.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Smelter. Would it be a second? Second that. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please. For the roll call, please.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous. 6.12, permanent appropriations fiscal year 26. There's a motion to approve the permanent appropriations for fiscal year 26. All board members have that attachment in front of you.
Nothing new, just standard practice that we have to do this month. Now that we know our ending cash balances from last year, we pull that in and then estimate our resources and appropriate at the fund level.
Okay, thank you for the comments. For the comment, Mrs. Roberts. Entertain a motion to approve the permanent appropriation for fiscal year 26 then.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smeltzer. Discussion. No discussion. Turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Yes. Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes, motion passed unanimous. 6.13, a resolution for the 2025-26 transportation impractical. Motion to approve the resolution 2025-006 declaring transportation impractical as presented. The resolution is in front of you.
So this is when we have students who live in district, but there's multiple different reasons as to why we do not transport them. Parents are then able to get basically a refund for some payment. That refund amount is determined at the state level. So what we have to do every year is pass a resolution that states the reasons why we may not be able to transport a student. And then each time that parent, or a parent essentially, I guess, applies, for lack of better terms, we will bring those student names to the board. So we passed the resolution once, but then you may in the future see additional students. There are students listed here, but obviously they're in some administrative files just to protect student names. But this is, I think, the third year in a row that we have actually had this happen, so it's pretty standard. This does not get paid out until the very end of the school year, and the parent has to provide evidence that their student did attend that school that they applied for. We compile them, and then they get paid out at the end of the year.
Is there a deadline for this?
There is not. They can actually do it all throughout the year. Yeah. They have to, the parent has to accept by, it's in here by like June something.
Oh, yeah.
So the parent has to accept it and they have to sign and send back. So if they essentially apply and then the board approves, and then if they don't sign and send back, it goes away. But it just takes a signature from them to come back, so.
Okay. Thank you for the comment, Mrs. Roberts. Mr. Hoffman, thank you for the question. So, entertain a motion to approve the resolution 2025-006 declaring transportation impractical as presented.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Johns. Would there be a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hoffman. Discussion. No discussion. Turn to question and turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zingmeister. Yes. Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Motion passed, unanimous, okay? Does move us into the executive session, adjournment into executive session. Motion to adjourn into executive session according with section 121.20.22 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Excuse me.
And would there be any,
No action
No
after,
action.
and we'd be looking at numbers 1, 2, and 6, update on a discipline issue with an employee, and talk about the Sheets property.
okay? Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Belleville. Entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Johns, I'll second that. Turn to question and turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zingmeister. Yes. Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.